You look back, game one went pretty well for us. The opportunity to get a lot of reps in for some young players. Rotate a lot of different guys on the defensive side of the ball. Guys ran the ball really well on defense, which I was really happy with. Offensive things, we got a bunch of reps that we can coach off of, and hopefully take some steps forward, because we're going to need that with this week's game. We have a huge challenge coming up this week, going on the road, playing a team that's one of the best home teams over the last couple of years, a team that's one of the top offenses in all of America. That's gone and played for conference championships. I think they're predicted to win their conference title again this year, and an extremely talented group. A quarterback we know well that's from Mississippi, that's got experience in playing, a running back that's multiple running backs that are explosive players, some wideouts that can score every time they touch the ball. They're dangerous in the return game, and they got a veteran group on defense, a top NFL draft pick at defensive end. So a very, very talented group that knows how to win, and they're used to winning. Obviously going to play in a tough road environment. I hope we have a great turnout in our fans. Usually we travel very well, and so I always encourage our fans to just make sure that they come support the team, travel the team, and help us as best they can, and increasing that energy. So, but it'll be a big challenge for us. We've got to take some big steps from between week 1 and week 2. Find a way, to go out there and compete against an excellent football team.
Question?
Hey Dan, after watching the film, how did you grade that offensive line? I know a lot of new faces, new starters, and some guys having to move different positions.
Yeah, they're ups and downs, a lot of good stuff to teach off of, you know what I mean? There was some really quality work and quality play. And then a little bit of inconsistency at times, which that happens with young players. But the great thing is you're getting reps where you can show them this is the exact right way to do it. And here, look at this. We didn't take the step exactly right. Our hand placement isn't exact, and you can see what happens when you don't get to do that in live game situations. So a lot of great teaching for the offensive linemen, and we got to play a bunch of guys, which was fantastic. So the teaching goes beyond just the ones that were new faces on the field, but the ones and twos that are new faces, and they get to see themselves in a live game situation and the things they need to do to continue to improve.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned La Tech has a pretty good defensive line. Sticking with the offensive line, Stuart Reese had a couple of penalties. What's your level of concern, particularly at that position, going into a game like this?
Well, actually both the penalties on him were actually on our center. Didn't snap the ball at the right time, and but the center doesn't snap the ball. He's not the one that gets called for the penalty. Everybody else gets called for the penalty. So more on him than on the tackle position. But you know what? We've addressed all. You address that with the center and the communication and all that stuff with the line and being in a game situation for the first time. So will be different because a bunch of guys. There'll be some guys this is their first road game and playing in hostile environments. So you're gonna have to get accustomed to that and adjust to that.
You mentioned several times in the preseason wanting to rotate safeties in and out of the game and limiting the snap counts. How do you think you did in that regard, and who in that rotation played?
Well, we did. We played a lot. I mean, not just safety. Every position we did that. You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody hit the 30 play mark on the defensive side of the ball. So a lot of guys we grade out to create a winning effort, a champion effort in the game. You got to play at least 20 plays, and we have more guys not play less than 20 than play 20 to grade it out. So, I even think, Fletcher Adams, we gave our defensive player of the week to on our team, and, and created 2 safeties. I think he only played 13 snaps, I think it was, in the game. So, we were able to rotate a lot of guys, which is what we want to do defensively to keep us fresh and fast.
Coach, you were able to play 4 true freshmen with Kyle and Willie and Tucker and Keaton. Just kind of your thoughts of their first game and kind of expand on Keaton, getting him out there. Yeah,
I think it was huge, for get those guys on the field. A lot of it. There's a lot goes into whether guys play. It's their, one, are they ready physically? Are they ready? 2, are they ready mentally? 3, what's the role that they're going to play in the need and how much they're going to play? And so all of those things go into the decisions of whether or not you play as a freshman. Some people think it's more than that, or it's other things than just that. It's there's other freshmen who might be ready to play but weren't going to get as many reps. So we're kind of cautious about that through the season. We'll see as the season goes on. But I thought Keaton came in. I thought, you really saw why you want to get guys in the game and be able to, you have to kind of force young quarterbacks onto the field. I mean, if you look at his first couple series and his last couple series, very different player, just all of a sudden, you practice and say, hey, I mean, he's in scrimmages, he's gone against a pretty good defense and played against some good defensive players out on the practice field. It's just different on game day. And so I think you saw that in how you react, you put the crowd, you put all those people out there, even different than a spring game, it's for real. And so it's good to see him, kind of get that experience and the opportunity to relax a little bit on the field and just go play, and he started to make plays.
With Kyle and obviously the other guys you pretty much knew were going to have to play this year, but when did you kind of make that decision on Kyle?
We had talked about it and just watched what he could do, and he's, a little bit different, with his speed and the explosiveness he brings to the game for us, and it was, just made the decision, hey, we're going to play him, so let's, kind of force him onto the field in situations, and now, lots on him of taking the steps to improve to become an every down back so we can trust having him on the field in every situation.
Do you have an update on Bryce? Do you expect him to play this week?
Yeah, he practiced yesterday. Yeah, I mean, it was close with thought for the game, and he just didn't come along as fast as we want, like you said. So, I mean, we expect everybody to play that is supposed to play. Coming out of last week's game, Malik Deer is still probably a week or two away from us making the decision where he's at.
Early in the game, you were on a really good tempo. I think you snapped the ball a couple times, 26, 27 seconds left on the play clock. When you play a team like Louisiana Tech that also likes to run tempo, do you like to go fast on fast, or do you think in your game plan, maybe we should slow it down just a little bit to throw them off?
No, we always, I think we're more efficient when we're playing at tempo. So I think, one of the things we talk about, our guys, you see it all around college football, is the ability to execute while you're controlling the tempo of the game. No, I mean, we want to play fast, we want to play up tempo. And I think at times, even when we put the twos in, you saw us later in the game, we tried to slow the tempo down with the twos. They weren't in rhythm, they weren't comfortable. And so we talked to our guys about that when we do want to slow the tempo down, we still have to be able to execute at a high level and be able to do that. And that's going to be important for us moving forward, especially the younger guys learning how to control different tempos of the game. But we always like to play fast.
Louisiana Tech lost a lot of key pieces from his passing attack last year. They seemed pretty efficient and effective at times there in week one. What did you see out of them in that respect?
Well, they were one of the top offenses in the country last year and rotated guys through. So, just because they lost some starters at that position, the other guys have played and been able to put up numbers. And you look at they have explosive playmakers. They have some great athletes that they put out there on the field. You can see it, not just within the offense, but you also see it within the return scheme, in the kicking game, and when they get some of those guys the ball in the open field, what they can do with it. So, we're going to have to run the ball and tackle real well in the open spaces.
Hey Dan, Leo Lewis is supposed to go to Covington in between the game for La Tech and LSU. How does that sort of disrupt what you guys are doing and personally for him, his schedule?
Well, I don't comment on all the issues that they deal with, so it won't affect us.
And just with, publicly he's been sort of vilified in some sections of the state and elsewhere. How do you feel about that? How he's been portrayed in the public?
I don't really pay much attention to it. I worry about him. He's a kid to me that's works his tail off. There's what I know about Leo Lewis. Every day I've met with him. Since the first time I met, I'm during recruiting, he's always been really honest with me. He and I have a real good relationship. He's a guy I know comes from a tough background, has worked really hard, both in the classroom, in his personal life, and on the football field to become a better player. I've watched him from when he got on campus to now really work to become a much better football player. Physically change his body, put in and grind in his work ethic to try to become the best he can ever be, best player he can be. Works hard, on and off the field to be successful in life, and that's the type of young man he is. Whether however people want to portray him, they portray him that way. You know what I mean? Some things that's not a Leo Lewis I would know. The Leo Lewis I've known from the beginning of recruiting is the guy I deal with on a daily basis.
Hey Coach, you've had these types of non-conference games, road games before with Troy, South Alabama, games like this. What What's the biggest challenge when you have a road game against a non-Power 5 conference team?
I don't know that it's a different challenge. I mean, what's different is a different stadium you're not used to going. You know, a lot of the guys, the teams we play, you're playing in a rotation. So, you know, I've never been there. I've never been to Mullen, Louisiana. I've never been to Louisiana Tech. I don't know what to expect from the stadium. Never seen the stadium. You know, even with the players, you know, and our guys, during your 4-year career, you know, you get to play in a stadium twice. Which isn't a lot, but there's a little familiarity. But I think even for coaches, you just get very familiar with all your settings, where you go, the hotel, some of the routine. Especially you're an older guy. If you're a senior, going on a road game. Hey, I remember when I was a sophomore being here, and you have a little bit of recollection. So I think that's what's a little bit different about it.
The ball wasn't put in the air a whole lot this past week. How do you feel about your pass defense, especially going against a team that likes to throw it a lot?
Well, it'll be interesting because I mean, you're talking about opposite ends of the spectrum, from going to a team that is kind of a wishbone team in week 1 to a team that is one of the teams that leads the nation in passing in week 2, and so you know we're hitting every end of the spectrum on defense. You know, so. We didn't spend a whole lot of time reviewing the game film with the players on the last game because, you know, I mean, it just there's not a lot of carryover against the scheme that we're going to see.
And I know you probably didn't see a lot of football on Saturday, but just if you saw any of Sunday night or Monday night's games, just give me your opinion, overtimes, points, comebacks, all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, I caught some of the little highlights of it. And every game, I think, you know, hopefully our kids are watching it, and there's little things that you can learn from watching all of these games, and, you know, about finishing a game. And you know, I think it's exciting. I know that. It looks like it's been really exciting. It's a great start to college football, and that's what makes college football so special is the excitement that it brings every single week. And I don't think there's anything like it, you know, the excitement of college football, the passion of the fans, and how important every single game is. You know, I mean, every game is such a huge game, and I don't know that really there's any other sport that's like it where the importance of every game is bigger than in college football.
Sorry.
That'd be quick.
Sorry, Dan. Just your thoughts on how the defense played. I know you've been talking about getting back to that aggressiveness. How did you feel like the defense played?
I was really pleased with how we ran at the ball. You know what I mean? I mean, I love judging effort. You know, we have a lot of assistant coaches and people that are worried about scheme, worried about technique, worried about teaching fundamentals. And the one thing as a head coach that's most important to me is the effort in which our team plays with. And I thought defensively, I thought we played with great effort on Saturday. You know, and that was a huge point that we brought up to everybody. I think everybody, you know, what I liked is the accountability. The older guys were holding younger guys. So even when it got to the fourth quarter, we started rotating a lot of different guys in. The guys on the sideline were talking about how hard you better play. If you're going to step on the field, there's a standard in which you need to play, the effort you need to play with. And that is really important to me. So I thought they played with the effort I expect them to play with week in and week out.
I know you've been asked already twice about this, but with Kylan Hill, you wouldn't be playing him unless you thought that there was a significant role for him to warrant not redshirting him. So can you talk a little bit more just about how many, I don't know, not exactly how many carries he'll get, but just what his role will be in the run game?
Well, I think, you know, that's tricky because it's a long season. You know, one of them is, you know, like I said, everybody's in different positions. We thought, okay, he's ready to go play physically. The best way to develop him mentally is to actually get reps in a game and let him get out there and play some. And, you know, so because it is a long year, you don't know end up what's going to happen. And you know, it's one of those discussions where, you know, very similar almost to a Keaton, where you sit there and say, okay, let's try not to play him. Then all of a sudden, week 5, you need to play him because of injuries or whatever's happened, and he has no experience at that position. So that was kind of the thought more than you know, hey, building all around him. I think it is giving him that experience so he can continue to develop to be more of an every down player.